Good evening, everyone. We ready? This is my gavel for today. I am reconvening to the open session of the regular meeting of Fairview District 72 Board of Education. It is October 16th, 2024 at 7:05 PM. We have already established that we have quorum. I would like to request that all members of the public be respectful of everyone at this meeting. Please ensure that you silence your cell phones and please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the regular and closed meetings of September 24th, 2024?
So moved.
I'll second. Okay, any corrections or comments? No, everyone's okay. All right. Well, all those in favor of approving the minutes of September 24th, 2024, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right. Minutes are approved. Next item, we're going to go to approval of payments of bills. May I have a motion and a second to approve the payment of bills in the amount of $152,540.86.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions regarding the bills? No, okay. Would the board secretary please call a roll call vote?
Yes. Jacqueline Boujde, yes. Rafael Kabor.
Yes.
Saji Philip.
Yes.
Christine Soika.
Yes.
Esther Tamura.
Yes.
Diana Diakakis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, bills are approved. Next item is Parent Teacher Association report. Do we have a representative of the PTA? Perfect. Sylvia.
Good evening. I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who attended the 5K a few weeks ago. Thank you to Raphael for a new route that he helped around, and Gretchen, who's usually here. We had a great time. Thank you to the community for donating a lot of raffle prizes. And then thank you to Fairview that donated a lot of raffle prizes as well. I know our kids are happy to be principal for the day and the free lunches that they were given or they won. We concluded last week's Fall Fun K through 4th grade parties last week. Unfortunately, we don't have any kids in that primary anymore, but thanks to, I think, Ms. Klein, who takes pictures and kind of shows what's been happening. It looked like a lot of fun. I don't think we had any problems, so I think that went well. We are having a very special, or actually sponsoring very special sensory sensitive party the same day as our Halloween party, which is October the 25th. This is not open to the public. It was an invite only from our NTDSE and our preschool, I believe. Thank you to Ms. Rossetti and her whole team for putting that together. I know last week when she presented, if you guys have seen her work, she's awesome and very diligent. It looked wonderful. We have Noodles and Company stress-free fundraiser October the 23rd, next Wednesday from 4 to 8. So make sure you guys mention Fairview. And then our next general PTA meeting is November the 12th in the Nest at 7 p.m. Thank you.
All right, school activity report. Does anyone from the board or administration have good news they'd like to share?
Hello, good evening tonight. We have a lot of things happening. As you know, I just want to piggyback on what Sylvia was talking about with the Halloween, the fall party, pardon me. The fall parties, which allowed everyone to be able to participate. The parents that came in had wonderful activities that children were able to participate in. And it was just lovely to see parents being able to be in the classrooms. I know that I feel like these days there aren't as many opportunities for parents to come into the school. It's just, there's so much going on. So it was really wonderful in a short period of time, but really just everyone was able to participate, which was lovely to see. And I know some of you are parents here and we're in the building. And so we thank all of our parents for volunteering their time. We know it is sometimes hard to get away from work, but it really was lovely to see everyone just together in a really festive kind of way. Also, we have really great clubs starting this week. So whether you have a student in primary or in middle school, the clubs started either lunch and recess or after school. For primary, we are partnering once again with the Skokie Northlight Theater, and that actually started today after school for third and fourth graders who signed up. So just a lot of opportunities for our kids to have some of that experiential learning. We know like when they're involved beyond the classroom walls, like those are times when they make those really important connections. And we have field trips galore happening at primary. I'll kind of run through quickly. Kindergarten is going to Emily Oaks end of this week and next week. First grade is going to Wagner Farm in the future. Second grade in the near future, end of October, they're going to the Museum of Science and Industry. Third grade has already gone to the Skokie Heritage Museum, and they're going to be going to the Skokie Library. So all of these field trips connect directly to the curriculum, but really give that hands-on, just out of the classroom experiences. For some kids, they don't get to travel places. So even getting on a bus, if they don't ride the bus usually, going down to Chicago at a museum, or even knowing that the Skokie Heritage Museum is right here. It's just wonderful for our kids to have those experiences. And then today we actually had it, October is Bully Awareness Month. And so we want to, make sure that we are taking pride in our SEL lessons and helping our students to know how to be upstanders and to really just try to, be kind, right? We want to be kind humans. And we had Omega Man today. His actually was Guardian was his name. And he really engaged the students, and we in an assembly for about 40 minutes. There was a 5 through 8 assembly and then a separate K4 assembly. It was a lot of excitement. The kids were cheering, the kids were listening. He did a really great job. So we will be connecting that with our bullying awareness lessons with our students. So lots happening at primary and across the board. So thank you.
Tech-wise, robotics is back up in full force this year. We were a little worried last year trying to find who would coach the team, but Derek Lays stepped up. I don't know if any of you know Derek, but he's an amazing individual. The kids from day one were asking, when is robotics starting? When is robotics starting? When is robotics starting? And so we started up, we're the first one in the Little Nine to start so early, but the kids go there twice a week. They go during lunch sometimes. And we're gonna have 3 competitions this year, 2 at the high school, which the teams get super excited about. We get to compete at Niles North this year, which is amazing. And then Fairview's also volunteered to host one of the tournaments. So I don't know if any of you have ever been to a robotics tournament, but it's really kind of exciting. And the kids, they're screaming and yelling, and it's a lot. So I encourage you all to go to the one here.
What
Okay.
what grades?
February
Sorry.
27th.
What grades?
5th through 8th.
Fifth.
Yep. So good stuff. Nope, that's at night. Yep. It usually goes from about 4:30 to 6:30, just depending on how many teams there are. It's might go a little later, but usually those are the hours.
Hello. So from my standpoint, we had our new families committee event last month, which went really well. We had pizza. Everyone always loves pizza. So we had families, our new kindergarten families, and then also just the new families that are new to the district joined us for pizza. And we had a scavenger hunt, which was really cool. So they had an opportunity to kind of go to different designated spots in the school, take pictures, and then bring all the pictures and the checklist off. So we do have some of those pictures. And then our Student Equity Advisory Committee had our first event either last week or the week after. It's been so many things. But we had a roundtable talk discussion, which always goes really well. This is the first one of this year. Last year, the group asked to have 4. So we'll have 2 with staff and teachers that are able to join us, and then 2 where there'll be just students. So this one was just students. We had really good discussion. The students came with, opinions and thoughts and questions. And then we also did like just some brainstorming on solutions and ways that we can address some of the concerns that they had. So that went really well. And then also we are participating again with the ELL Parent Center for the Parent in School program. So we have teachers who have already signed up and volunteered to participate. And we also have parents that are working with the ELL Parent Center. So I'm really happy that that's going on. So I'll just be kind of helping to support that initiative go forth this school year.
And then lastly, next Wednesday, our community equity group is hosting our first event of the year. And we will be showing a short film that talks about translation and family experience, and then just having a short discussion afterwards. That is it.
Hello. Hi, so this year we're working with a volunteer agency again that we worked with last year that helped work with therapy dogs. So last year was our pilot year, and this year we found it really successful. So we're doing it again this year. This year we're opening it up to more students. We started with a teacher referral form. So teachers refer some students who think they would be good candidates to participate in an hour time with therapy dogs. So we break it up into 4 15-minute blocks. So different students get opportunities, and we are planning 4 times this year. So we did one in October. We have another one coming up in December, one in February, and then one in April. So it's been a really success, and it's been great to see the kids with the therapy dogs.
Okay, you have to tell them the really, really, really good news. You can't hold back, Carly.
I didn't. So we officially were awarded the PFA grant, which is very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, Carly did the heavy lifting on writing this grant application. It was not an easy task, and it was I think, your first time through with grant writing. And, in collaboration with Jeff and myself, Jeff helps us with the financials, and I know Isby well, so I kind of know some of those important words to throw in here or there, but it was really Carly who should be so proud of her efforts. We were awarded, Jeff, what was the final dollar amount? $314,000, which is fantastic. So we found out this news yesterday, and this will trigger some work for us on our end to, be able to now offer preschool for free to some students who qualify. 312, okay. Numbers guy. But we're really excited about this opportunity. We know that it's going to be, a lot of work as we learn what we need to do and extend these opportunities for Fairview families, but we're really, really excited, and I couldn't be more proud of Carly for her work on this. So please give her a round of applause. She deserves it.
That's not easy to follow. I didn't know that either. So that's wonderful. Just a few things from middle school and across the building. Last week, we hosted Niles West in a shadow day of students that are interested in future potential education working in schools. So that was really amazing. We had about 10 students, many of which were former Falcons. And I always get the requests from the teacher, from the students that went to Fairview saying, I want this teacher, I want this teacher, I want this teacher. So then we try to set them up with certain teachers that they're interested in, but it's really a wide range. And this year we were able to accommodate a student that was interested in early childhood, which we've never done. So they got to go to preschool and other parts of the building. And so that was really rewarding for our staff, but then also for the kids that are interested in that pathway when they're at District 219. So then additionally, we had a great end of the fall sports season. I know a couple championship games we fell short, but I want to give a shout out to our kids in all of the programs. In talking to the coaches often at the end of a season, across the board, they couldn't stop raving about how amazing our kids are together as a team. And I think that just playing sports throughout my life, as many of you have done, it's the teams that you remember, not necessarily the accolades, and remembering being with friends and classmates. And so coaches were really raving about them. So hopefully we're into girls basketball season this week, started tryouts. So many of the same students that participate in girls volleyball will probably participate in basketball. So we're looking forward to a great couple seasons there as well. And then lastly, in middle school, our quarter ends this Friday, and we're on to quarter 2 already, which means that students get new electives next week, which they're really always eager to see what that elective is on Power School. So those started to appear this week, and then that will carry into close to winter break. So that's it for me. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. A lot of teachers and staff came to the volleyball game, the 8th graders at Niles West. So it was really nice to see so many teachers come and support the girls. So that was nice. Thank you.
Yeah, and the number of teachers who came to the 5K, you'll see many teachers out at the Halloween party. You know, we know this is above and beyond and we appreciate it. It means a lot to our families and our community, but we also know our teachers are balancing a lot. They have their own families, they have their own activities. And so it really is a sacrifice for them to come out on the weekend, come out in the evening, and they just do it over and over again. So we are very, very lucky. And on that note, I'll share my bit of good news. Fairview has been selected as a top workplace for the 6th year in a row, so we'll be recognized. Thank you. The Chicago Tribune publication will be coming out mid-November. So this will be the last chance I get to share the news publicly with you before the big announcement. But that is a testament to the culture we've tried to develop here, working closely with the teachers union. You know, that people feel good about the place they work. And that's why we see people staying here for a very long time. So that's something that the board should really be proud of. So that's my good news.
Anybody else? No, we're good. Okay, thank you. Next item is our board discussion. Would superintendent please introduce the reports to the board?
Sure. First up, we have what I'd like to call the final planning report for the 2019 through 2023 strategic plan. This plan was developed before COVID even existed, at least as we know it. And so I'm really proud of our efforts to work through this plan in the midst of a global pandemic. You know, we are starting the process to embark on a new plan, but I thought it would be a nice opportunity this evening to just, you know, think a little bit about where we started 5-6 years ago with this plan and where we are today. It's been a lot of hard work by many, many people. You know, there's no way we could get all of this work done without an amazing staff, support staff, administrative team, because it's a small district. So when you're in a small school, a lot of people have to do a lot of different jobs. And so we carry a lot when we take on any of these extra initiatives in addition to our regular jobs. So I'm not gonna belabor this. You had it in your board packet. I'm very proud of the fact that we do have an equity statement here at Fairview now, alongside with our mission statement and our belief statements. In terms of the plan, there were 6 areas of focus: community connectedness, community connections, and this is a big one. I have finally given in and I have glasses.
I noticed.
It's really painful for
those.
me, so I'm going to wear them so that I can actually see. Community connections and relations, curriculum and instruction, diversity and inclusivity, fiscal stewardship, social emotional learning, and student support services. So just to touch upon a few things that you've heard over the years as we've talked at board meetings, even tonight, some of this has come through. Community connections and relations, the K-8 connectedness work that we've done, bringing our students together across grade levels. The parent mentor program was a part of this. Welcoming new families to the district, what Jordan is now spearheading our efforts in welcoming our new families. We didn't have that before, but what we heard from the community was, you know, parents feel disconnected. Families that are new who come to Fairview in 4th grade, they have a really hard time getting to know people. So we've really worked hard at that. The board at the time wanted me to be a member of the Skokie Chamber of Commerce, and I've served as a board member for the Skokie Chamber of Commerce, trying to stay connected to those taxpayers, those business owners who are bringing in the revenue that help fund our school. The 219 job shadowing, that's another thing that was brought up in the last strategic plan, that, you know, the community wanted us to provide students these opportunities to job shadow teachers. And we went out there and have been able to make that happen. In curriculum and instruction, we have new report cards. They're rolling out this year. It was a lot of effort. It took us a lot of time. But that's something that parents are, I think, going to really appreciate going forward. We have a teacher staff development committee. We have a program review cycle. So looking not only at curriculum, but programs. How are we doing with ELL services? How are we doing with special education services? We are very intentional now about reviewing those programs on a regular basis. And under diversity and inclusivity, we worked for several years with Dr. Dubiel. She was a consultant to the district. She guided Jordan and myself in our work on a recruitment and hiring handbook that we're very proud of. And we feel that we've really worked hard to diversify our faculty and staff as much as possible. That is directly related to our job shadowing. So our Fairview students who decide to come back and teach, they're helping us diversify our workforce. They are Fairview. And so as much as we can encourage that and support that, you know, we love hiring our own graduates whenever possible. Under fiscal stewardship, the building project, we're sitting in it. You know, it was the stewardship of the boards and past boards that allowed us to have the fund balances we need to be able to do a significant project like that. The Insurance and Wellness Committee is something that's grown over the years. I'm quite proud of that and Jeff's work on that. Social emotional learning, you've heard a lot about it. We've added therapy dogs, we've added counselors and social workers to support our students. The needs keep growing, and I feel that we're very in tune with that. But it's a work in progress because the kids keep changing, and you know what we're going to need 2 years from now is going to look different than what it looks like today. And finally, student support services. You know, this was in the strategic plan. It talked about encouraging healthy students' school lunches. It talked about providing advanced learning programs and enrichment for kids who didn't quite qualify for spin out, but were above average and needed that extra push. And the board supported that by adding our advanced learning positions. So, you know, I could go on and on. This is just sort of a snippet from each of the broader categories, but I feel that the value of having a strategic plan is having that map, that sort of roadmap that helps us as a district stay focused. And over time, if you really stay focused and you keep working hard, you really can move the needle. You can make progress. You can see change. And so that's why I felt it was really important tonight, before we embark on a new strategic planning process in the coming months, you know, that we take the time to just really reflect upon what has been accomplished and why it's worth the time to invest in filling out the community survey, participating in the committee, you know, having the board eventually embrace and approve a strategic plan to guide us forward in the future. So happy to answer any questions that you might have, but you won't hear about the strategic plan, I promise you, again, but you know, it would be unfair not to talk about the accomplishments over the course of the past 5 years. So that's what I hope to accomplish. Anything? No? Okay. Okay, next is board policy. We have a first reading. This isn't too bad as compared to probably the last year's worth of board policy review. This time around, we have 5 policies. They are all somehow related to Title IX and the new regulations that have finally come down in regards to Title IX. I'm not going to spend time on this tonight, but all 5 policies relate to changes in Title IX and implications for our board policies. So please take a look at this. We will, you know, talk about it again next month like we always do, and then would hope for the board to approve those policies in November. Okay. Finally, the superintendent's report. I'll just touch upon a couple of things. The PTA for the first time has invited the teachers to be a part of their executive committee meetings. Previously, teachers would attend the general meeting and they kind of give a laundry list of what was going on at their grade level. And, you know, it really wasn't super engaging. And I'm really excited about the changes that Sylvia and Katie have embraced in including representatives of our staff to come to the executive committee meeting to really have a dialogue and a conversation about, you know, how did the fall parties go? You know, how did it work? What did you like? What did you not like? Book fair, did you like the teacher wish list, paper and pencil? Do you want it to be online? You know, so they're really, you know, wanting to hear from our teachers. And, you know, I walked away feeling so good about it. And our staff who attended felt really valued. You know, that the PTA wanted to hear from them and wanted their feedback so that they could, you know, continue to, you know, be better at what they're doing. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's a really fantastic step. It's a parent-teacher association. Lots of times it feels like it's really heavy parents, but it really should be a collaboration. And so I think beyond just our teachers joining the PTA, which many, many, many of them have, you know, embracing the dialogue and the conversation, I think is really important. So thank you, Sylvia, for that. We had an awesome October Institute Day last Friday. While you guys were maybe home entertaining your children. We had a really productive day here at school where we heard from reading curriculum publishers. So that was sort of a day-long activity for people involved in the reading curriculum project, the district learning team. We reviewed our safety plans and practiced some of our safety plans. We had time for teachers to work on their wind block preparations, so that special period of the day where kids are getting that extra support that they might need, whether it be organization or reading support or something extra. So it was just a really great day. You know, it's nice to have lunch together as a faculty and, you know, just to talk to people, which we don't normally have time to do, you know, on a regular day. So it was a great day. We find those so important. I know it's hard to have the kids home from school sometimes, but we really, really need that time. And we treat it like gold because it's so precious to us. We try to make sure we use every minute of it very carefully and wisely. So please know that we do that. We finally had our title grant application approved. So this is Title I, Title II, and Title IV. It is a process where you submit the grant, they send it back, you submit it, they tell you change this, you send it back. Maybe 6 or 7 times, Jeff, do we go back and forth with ISB? Now Carly writes a grant and it gets approved. I don't know what we're doing wrong here, but right, exactly. I think we have a job for her. But these are the grant funds that are federal funds, and they are also shared with the private or parochial schools. We don't have any parochial schools within our district, but we do have several private Jewish schools. And so we have to collaborate with them because they do get a small portion of that money, but we have to submit on their behalf. So it is kind of a coordination of efforts with those private schools. But we're very happy. It's finally approved. That is pretty much it. Student issues, you know, school year, we're a month in and the honeymoon is a little bit over. And, you know, there are things popping up for students. The mental health issues for everybody are really concerning. I know you all know that, you know, but we are really trying to support our kids. And, you know, when families reach out to us and let us know what's going on, sometimes it's not going on at school, sometimes it's going on at home, but we can still try to help you. You know, people just need to talk to us, whether it be a classroom teacher, a social worker, a principal, superintendent. There are a lot of resources here. So as much as you can let people know, we have a lot of support here. We want to help. If we don't have it here, Skokie's got to have it because Skokie's amazing. But a lot of times parents don't know how to, you know, connect up with the resources they need. So the better we can communicate and take care of each other as a community, you know, I think the stronger that we are. So that's my report.
Thank you. All right, next item is our board committees and representatives. Sarah, Christine, do you have any updates for the Ed Tech committee?
I think it was touched on a couple of different times, but we discussed therapy dogs, the strategic planning report, and then Miss Rebecca Hoffman presented the planning for the new reading curriculum and how they were spending Institute Day. And she had a wonderful presentation that went into a lot of detail. And so that was really nice to see and to gain a better understanding of what the process is like. And when, you know, they have more information on sort of honing in on a curriculum, what their plan is to vet it and shadow at other schools. So it was helpful, I think, for me to understand sort of what the process and why it takes so long to implement. Because they do their due diligence and ensure it's the right program. So excited for that. And then again, they touched on pretty much everything else, I believe. So great. All I wanted to add.
Raphael, any updates on Ed Red committee?
Sure, yes. So this Friday, Dr. Whitaker and I will be attending the EdRed annual luncheon. And they're actually going to be reviewing their strategic plan as well for the 2024-2025 school year. So I'll be able to report that a little bit more on the next meeting. And then there'll be a keynote speaker there, Dr. Rebecca Vonderleck Navarro, who is, she's going to talk about her work in the Latin Policy Forum and what she's done there. So looking forward to that event. I attended one last year. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great networking with other school board members, other superintendents, principals, teachers. So I'll report more next time.
That's great. Thank you. Jackie, any updates for NTDSC?
Nothing to report.
Okay. And then Christine, any further updates for the PTA?
Nope.
Thank you. All right, next is freedom of information. I can report that there weren't any freedom of information acts received since the last board meeting. We also do not have any submissions for information items and correspondence this month. I'm moving on to public comment. At this time, I would like to invite members of the audience to address the board in public comment. The public comment period is designed to gain input from the public and not for immediate response by the board to question or comment presented. If you wish to address the board, please come up to the microphone, state your name. A 3-minute time limit will be set. The board secretary will keep the time. No? Okay, and no online comments as well. All right, we are going to move on to action items. May I have a motion and a second to adopt the 2024 tentative tax levy?
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Fair, would you like to give us an update?
Love to. Thank you. Typically, we present this tax levy in November. It's due officially in December, but with the timing of the board meetings, we decided to bump it up a month. We were able to get all of the information necessary to compile the tax levy in June. It's been late the last couple of years, which has meant we've had to go up to the deadline in order to do that. But right now, we have a lot of the information in order to provide the answers we need. There's a reminder that 79% of the revenue we get is from our local property taxes. And as important as the budget is for setting the template for the next year, the levy is possibly the most important thing because it allows us to fund all of our expenses going forward. A reminder that there's a difference between the tax levy and the tax extension. The tax levy is the actual request that we're putting in. And then over the course of the next 6 months, in January through June, the county clerk will put together what is actually extended. They'll look at all property in district and they'll make sure it's properly assessed. And from that number that we request, they'll come up with a number that we actually get, which is the extension. We are governed by the property tax extension limitation law, which means we cannot get a larger increase than CPI of the previous year. So the last 2 years, we've really benefited from large CPI numbers, which was 7% and 6.5%. The unfortunate note in both of those years is that because we're capped at 5%, we missed out on all of that revenue between 7 and 6.5%. This year, it's at 3.4%. Which is more in line with what we've gotten historically. There's been some lean years where we get 0.1%, but 3.4 is more typical than what we've had the last 2 years. There's a look at the historicals for CPI. The next 3 years in 26, 27, 28, I just used a 5-year projection of what that looks like. Next year, it's looking even leaner at 2%. And you'll see that, but again, 15 through 21, we didn't see higher than 2.3%. And again, in times when our expenditures are the percentage increase of our expenditures is much higher than that revenue increase, and us leaning so much on local property taxes from revenue, it was very important that we had the fund balances that we did. This is a look about how they're calculated. There's the total extension base, which is the total property in our district, and then CPI is increased. And the one thing that comes out of there is new property. The unfortunate part about our district, there's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that we have a lot of commercial property, which is taxed at a higher level than homeowners. The bad thing is that there's not much new property going in. There's not a lot of space for new property. There's not a lot of build outs right now. This past year, we had $0 in new property in district, which is pretty incredible. There are some districts that have a lot more space, have a lot more tear downs. Tear downs go into that too, but there could be more coming this year. We don't have a really good estimate of that or handle on that. A lot of this is a guessing game because the Cook County doesn't reveal all the information that we need in order to make an accurate assessment. So a lot of this is a guessing game based on historicals. There's a look at some of the definitions of property valuation. So again, the county clerk, the assessor assesses the property in district. They go to the county clerk and they come up with a valuation based on that property and comparatively to all other properties in Cook County. As homeowners, you'll notice every 3 years your property is reassessed, and that's when we typically see a huge increase in district. That is not this year. There's again a look at how our district is comprised. A lot of our EAV is made up of industrial and commercial, which is very different than some other districts in Skokie. There's a look at the different tax rates. The other thing too is to remember, comparatively to other districts in Skokie and Niles Township, our tax rate is significantly lower. Ours is at 2.32. The only other lower district is Culver at 1.897. That 2.32 number is even including the debt we took out for the construction project, which is fantastic. You'll see our EAV sits right in the middle. And then our new property there is at the lower end. At the lowest end possible, not lower end, lowest end. There's a look at our EAV over the years, and those starred, next year will be the triennial reassessment. That's when we expect a larger than normal increase in our assessed property in district. The important thing to note when people say the district is raising our taxes, well, again, we are limited by how much we can ask for. The real thing that determines your tax rate and your tax bill is how your property is assessed and what your neighbor's properties are assessed at. You'll see there the correlation between EAV extension and tax rate. So the EAV was at 13.1% in 2022. Our extension was limited to about 5.1, and that rate still went down -7% because, am I not, did I say something wrong? Oh, okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. I didn't know if I said something wrong or had something in my nose or what was going on. But EAV is really the determining factor in how our tax rate is made up. There's a look at the timeline. So the funny thing is we talk about CPI, it's all split over about 3 different years. So from January to December of 23, that's when that CPI is measured. That's going to govern how much of an increase we get the next year. And then this doesn't play out in total until fiscal year 26, which will be the fall of 25 when we get that second installment of taxes. So this all takes place over the course of 3 years. There is a look at what we're asking for this year. So there's the first column is the different funds that we have. The next column is the tentative levy, and that's what the actual request will go down that gets submitted to the county clerk. And then the following column is the projected extension. That's what I project we're actually going to get. The percentage change, our tentative levy, we're requesting 4.99%. The reason we're asking for 4.99% is because there's a 5% cap on what's called the truth in taxation. You have to have a public hearing at that 5%. There's nothing wrong with doing that. We did that last year. We did 7.1 last year. But if we're trying to get a balance between not missing out on money and being accurate with what we project that we're going to get, 3.4% is CPI. We're not getting a lot of new property. I don't think we're going to even come close to that 4.99%, but we're going to request it because we don't want to miss out on any potential new property we may have. So you'll see there, I'm estimating about a 1% increase in EAV year over year. Not a big increase at all. New property, I took an average, but it's not a big number. But what I do is I look at the biggest number that we've had in new property over a 15-year period and plug that into our levy. And that kind of gives me an idea of what we don't want to miss out on, what could potentially happen. What I actually think we're going to get is far, far lower. But the math works out between the levy and the extension to include a high number. Last year, we went to 7.1% on our levy because we were bumping up already with the 5%, CPI being 5%. Any new property above that, we would have missed out on if we didn't have a truth in taxation hearing. This year, we don't need to do that. Again, 4.99% is the capped extension of the previous year. So we take 4.99% of what we received last year, what was actually extended. And I could say received and extended pretty closely because we get about 98 to 99% of the taxes that we extend. We have a good collection rate in our district. We're projecting approximately a 3.3% extension increase. Again, no truth in taxation needed. New property remains small. CPI is trending even lower, unfortunately, for 2025. Again, important reminder that the district's requesting money is not the driver of high taxes, it's assessments. And then the allocation of levy between the funds, we try and bring the fund balances in line with what our current fund balances are and what our projected revenues and expenditures are for the next year to 2 years. Make sure that we bring those numbers in line and we're able to cover our expenditures. The levy and tax bill calculations is for homeowners are on the Fairview website and this in the business section. If you guys want to go over there right now, I could pull it up right now if we want to go through it. No? Okay. No one wants to go through it? Okay, good. And that is it for right now. Let's look at this thing is frozen. Like, that's it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome.
All right, would the board secretary please call roll call vote?
Yes. Christine Soika?
Yes.
Esther Tamura?
Yes.
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Jacqueline Boujde, yes. Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Saji Philip?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone have any items for future consideration to share? For next- Okay, okay, perfect. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting of the Fairview Board of Education at 7:45 PM?
So moved.
I'll second.
Would the board secretary please call roll call vote?
Yes. Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Esther Tamura?
Yes.
Christine Soika?
Yes.
Jacqueline Boujde, yes. Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Saji Philip?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.